So now let's warm things up with a focus on love in all of its form, where we celebrate and sort through the emotions that bind us to those that matters most. Love shows up in many ways through the people we care for, the challenges we face together, and the little rituals that make it all worthwhile. What's it about these connections that both grounds us and tests us? And how do we nurture them in a busy world? Which kind of could bring us to us this week. And we should probably going to save this to later, but whatnot. We've had a rough week for the first time, and I can't actually remember.
I don't remember
how long, which I suppose means it was due.
We were overdue.
We've been bickering a little bit about back and forth, and again, goofy things. But for whatever reason,
you know what we had a disagreement.
Yeah.
And vocal.
Yeah.
We didn't yell.
No. We don't have the energy for that. What are you talking about?
But we were locked in.
Yeah. So
we had differing viewpoints.
Well, and different viewpoints are actually fine in this world. It's how you deal with them. It's okay to have strong differences of perspective on something. It's you have some sympathy for the other person's perspective. You don't even have to understand it.
No, I do not understand you.
Don't even try, right? You don't even have to try.
I do try.
But, have some sympathy that, okay, they have a different perspective on the world, and I don't have to agree with it, but I do have to understand it, that they're seeing things different than me. And they have a right to, because they're human.
Well, that's the bottom line. You have a right to your own opinion.
Yeah. And, sometimes people can see the exact same event and have vastly different perspectives on it.
Very much
and
so.
If you don't believe me, go stand two people on different corners of a busy intersection for 20 minutes and come back and tell the stories of what happened. You'll get completely different stories. Despite the fact they could have been looking at the same intersection, just on different corners.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have vastly different stories.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how do you nurture that? Sympathy. You don't have to spend much effort trying to understand them. Just have some sympathy that they view the world or events or whatever differently than you do. And as a human being, they're allowed to. You can still tell them to buzz off, but you'll find yourself doing less of that, mainly because then you have to understand, okay, whatever I think about them, they have the same right to think about me and how to treat me the same way I treat them.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a devil spiral downwards or a lovely spiral upwards, depending upon your actions.
True.
Nobody else's.
Yeah.
You have no control over other people's reactions.
No.
You only have yours.
None. Yeah.
And your internal reactions may not be pretty or pleasant, but your external ones can be.
They can. It doesn't matter what I think or what I feel. What matters is what I do.
Yeah, it's
I am a mess sometimes in here, and I am not the most forgiving at the moment. But yeah, at the time, but I know, don't do it, Christina. Do not be judgmental. Stop it. So I'll think about that. Is what I say.
But, there's that think twice thing.
Yeah.
It's a good suggestion. Good suggestion. All right. So what do we got first tonight, love?
Wait a minute. I'd like to make one more point.
All right.
In our bickering, I noticed there was an absence of something.
What's that?
Angst. Worry.
Yeah.
Anxiety.
Yeah. I think we're just in bad mood at the same time for whatever the hell.
No, wasn't scared for the relationship. Do you know what progress that is?
Sweet. That's victory.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah. Because there's no, it's, for whatever, one or both of us are in a bad mood, and life's like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about it either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's normal, because it's not normal for us, which is, yeah, I can't remember the last time we had a.
But you notice we didn't put a whole lot of energy into it.
Oh no, because it clearly wasn't that serious. Again, I'm going back to, they were in a bad mood or something. This stuff would not have even created a wave on normal weeks. It's just been one of those weeks. So you let it ride. It'd be all right next week. Okay, what's next?
Okay, we're going to talk about parenting. Should I talk more in English rather than our native language? Okay, he's from India, and they just had their newborn, and they've been talking to it in, is it Hindi?
Okay. Well, I think there's a couple in India, so I don't want to. I wouldn't want to guess, but sure, we'll assume Hindi.
Okay.
Right? Or whatever it is we think of as Hindi.
I hope I'm not.
Yeah, I'm
disrespecting anyone involved here.
No. So whatever their native language happens to be, they both speak it, and you're trying to decide how much of each to speak. And here's the thing: there is no right answer.
There really isn't.
You will have to evolve that answer as you go through life. As an infant,
different stages.
As an infant, as a baby, you're going to talk to him in whatever is natural to you.
You will.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because he's not comprehending the language so much as he's learning the tones of your voice, learning what tones mean.
Yes.
And so it does. The language itself that's why we can talk to babies in baby talk, and it doesn't lower their verbal skills later on. It's perfectly fine. It's because it's the tone. It's the emotions and stuff.
Your face, so that's your facial features, what you're doing.
Yeah, and learning your voice. So, but as you go along, you're going to have to make a decision on how much of what. And, you want to keep your son naturally bilingual, or your child naturally bilingual. That's great. Then you're going to have to speak a lot of it at home as they get older. But on those formative years, when they're trying to learn English to get it, that's the hard part, right? When you're 4, 5, 6, 7, that's when it's going to be difficult, because they're still learning both languages. And maybe you're lucky. Maybe you've got a child who can pick up both and without any trouble.
Children usually can.
Yes, but you don't want to.
It's really amazing.
But it is. You don't want them to go into kindergarten never have heard English before.
Well, no.
So you do want to make sure you speak both.
Well, it's going to be socialized, before he gets to school.
That means different things to different families.
Oh, that's true.
So I'm not going to make any assumptions one way or the other. Okay. I'm just saying, you just want to make sure that he's routinely exposed to both languages. But as an infant, 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. Baby talk is fine. Talk to him or whatever is natural to you, because that's the tones that, you're not trying to interpret something. You're going to speak more naturally. And that's what they need to hear when they're young, when they're babies.
I agree.
And once they get to toddlers and you have to start giving them commands, that's when you're, and you have to start explaining things. That's when these decisions become more difficult, especially, early, those, again, 3 to 7 or whatever it is. How much of which one do you do? I don't know. I don't think anybody does. You just have to figure it out. And you will. Because you care, because you're already asking that question of yourself. So have some faith that because you're already asking that question, you will, by the time you need to have an answer, you will have a strategy dealt with.
You really will. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. You're ahead of the game. You're
You
thinking
really
about
are. Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay.
How do single parents do it?
Uh,
Okay, here's just you're gonna love this one. He's an exec.
Uh-huh.
Wife got sick.
Uh-huh.
I got it, babe. For
Uh-huh.
like a week, she was out, and he just took off of work, stepped in, and he was clobbered.
Well, of course. He wasn't trained for it.
But to her credit, she let him do it.
Yeah. Oh, and if he'd had another week, he'd have got his system sorted.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, he needed to learn his lessons, and you do that in that first week because you learn your lessons, and in the second, third, and fourth, it took them time. It took his wife time to get it down to that well-oiled, squeaky machine that they have as life that looks like it's well-oiled, but realistically, it's squeaky, held together by duct tape and baling wire, right? Just like everybody else's life is. She's just good at making it look pretty. It's his own talent, It's just how most of us work. Unless you've got nannies and staff, that's how life works. Yeah. And how do single people do it? It's just to quote a Nike commercial, you just do it. It's because you don't have a choice. You'd be amazed how well you can adapt and learn when you don't have a choice.
It's shocking.
And he would have. The fact that he was willing to give it a real attempt,
Uh-huh.
he would have been fine if he'd had to do it for longer.
Mm-hmm.
He'd learned the lessons that first week. Second week would have been trying out different experiments, and the third are different ways to deal with all these various issues that come up.
Uh-huh.
And the third or fourth week he would have been refining the ones that worked. That's how men work. But she'd had all this time to create her systems. You're trying to step in and work with her systems. They weren't designed for you. Everybody has to relearn. So of course he got clobbered because it wasn't built for him. It wasn't designed for him. So
he's left standing there going, how can this be a one person job?
Yeah, because it's okay. You're CEO. Go step into the entry level person job and try to do it. You're not gonna be able to. You're gonna sink. Just like every first person who steps into the entry level job. They don't know what they're doing. And it's nothing to do with whether a CEO is good. Can he learn? Of course he can. But you get thrown into the deep end like that, of course you're going to get clobbered. But the thing is, you learn to swim like everybody else.
He did all right. The kids were alive and they were fed. They went to school in clean clothes. Homework was done.
Hey, you know what? Doesn't even matter if their clothes are clean. Do they smell? No. Then, hey, it's fine.
The wife got her meals,
Everybody got taken care of.
Everything. But the house just kind of imploded.
Yeah, but you know what? You can send the kids off to grandma's or a camp and clean it up over the weekend or something. There's ways around this, which men are great at, right? We find solutions to these problems. Well, that sucked. All right, they're going to grandma's house for the day so I can clean this mess up. Yeah. And we'll break out the shop vac and we'll clean it up in ways that you guys are, what are you doing? Hey.
Shop vac?
Oh, yeah. We don't mess around when we clean. We'll break out whatever tools we need to get it done as quickly as possible. Yeah, don't look. Go to grandma's with the kids. Go visit your moms for the day. You'd be better off. All right. What's next?
Okay, this poor family. Sudden school refusal of their 6-year-old boy. He just didn't want to go.
Yeah. Well, 6 schools aren't designed for boys, frankly. You got energetic young boys and they sit there and essentially locked into a classroom for most of the day. This is kind of the classic issue. But also, if it's a new thing, kind of a sudden, he used to like to go to school and now all of a sudden he doesn't, check with the school and stuff for ask him about bullies. If there's a sudden change like that, there's a reason for it. He used to like the school and then kind of overnight doesn't. That's why. not liking school in general, not liking his teachers, all that various stuff because you're told you just need to apply yourself and all the various goofy things. And no, I need to not have to sit in this classroom all day. There's all various kinds of reasons. But if you used to like to go to school, now all of a sudden doesn't. There's a reason for it.
Poor little thing.
So, okay.
Okay. Now, this lady is writing. She has a very vegetarian kid,
Uh-huh.
a little girl who is 7. And, basically she just found out where meat comes from,
Yeah.
and not having none of that, nothing with a face, Yeah. So, and mom's wondering about nutrition. Check with the nutritionist. Seriously, it would be worth it for your peace of mind.
Yes. Well, it's not impossible. You just have to really, the problem with most vegetarians diets, especially for children, is they don't get enough proteins. It's plants are bad at getting proteins. They just are. So that's the one thing you're really going to have to worry about. It's great that she likes to eat her fruits and vegetables. You're set up for life.
You have to make sure you get the combinations of the meats or the beans and grains. There are various combinations that produce a protein.
Yeah, there's lots of resources to find for that if that's the route you so choose. I would, at 7, do you allow your 7-year-old to define the diet they eat? Regardless of their sensitivities to life, show them some Mutual of Omaha and say, this is just nature, kid. You're going to have to learn to live with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Compassion.
I'm not saying which answer is correct. I'm just saying you should actively think about it both before you choose a path. This is the child of 7. The child at 7 years old don't get to decide their diet.
You're gonna okay. So you put it on the plate and they refuse to eat it.
Well, then they'll eat it when they get hungry.
No.
Yes, they will.
I don't agree with that.
Well, see, that's why we got together after we raised children, after our children were raised.
Yeah, God knew what he was doing. Oh, and yeah, they're going to go through it, but they can't go through that.
So, yeah. But, of course, my kids at 7 knew about how the cycle of life worked, and so they were never surprised that what they were eating was animals. So I never hid any of that stuff from them. They knew about life from the minute they could understand it. So that's why I never had the problem.
I had a vegan baby.
The babies cannot be vegan. Babies cannot make those choices for themselves.
I made the choice.
All right, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But the baby wasn't vegan. You chose to feed the baby vegan. It's a perfectly reasonable decision.
And she had tofu and amino acids every morning. It's like a soy sauce. She had plenty of protein.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying the baby wasn't vegan. You fed the baby vegan food.
Yeah.
Yes. The baby did not decide to be vegan.
Doesn't mean the baby wasn't vegan.
Yes, it does. Being vegan means you made a choice to do something. The baby didn't make a choice.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, otherwise, you're being fed a vegan diet. If you're not making the choice, you're not a vegan. You're just being fed a vegan diet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Until you can choose. If you're a prisoner and you want steak, but they're feeding you vegetables only, guess what? You're a vegan. You're eating a vegan diet, but you sure in the heck ain't a vegan. You want KFC and Taco Bell and all that stuff. You want dead cow, but you're getting fed broccoli. You're not happy. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Ooh, this one.
Okay.
My children's father is dying. Okay, he's not very involved. He's a heavy drinker.
Uh-huh.
He gets very, very little visitation through the courts. And now he has cancer and he's at end stages and she doesn't know what to do.
Well, there's one to relieve a little stress. There is no right or wrong thing to do. The fact is, as long as you give it contemplation and make a decision based upon that contemplation, you've done the right thing. Whatever end decision you make, as long as it was done, thoughtfully, then you'll be fine. So, because on a question like this, I don't think there is necessarily a generic right answer.
I agree. It's going to have to, and there's 2 children, so it may be different for each child.
How old are the children? There's how traumatized are the children by involvement with their father or not? We don't know. Alcoholics have a tendency to burn bridges with their children, and children may not feel very much for a while. I don't know how old the children are.
He had supervised visitation.
Yeah, it's kind of so there's red flags, right? Where the children, depending upon their age, and
they were early. They weren't teenagers yet.
Okay, so they're still young. So even though their father's flawed, they're still going to have generally some, emotion attached to it, especially the younger one. But I'm of the thing, you deal with these things relatively straightforward. As straightforward as you can bring yourself to be.
Okay.
There's no malice. You are just passing, in a sense, facts. You are going to respond to whatever emotion your children has appropriately because you care. You're going to have to trust your instincts on this one. But, you deal with it in a, I don't want to say blunt because people take that wrong. But, I mean,
you are factual.
Yeah.
In those kind of things.
And your children, you know how much one child can take versus the other and how to deal with it. This is one of those things where trust in yourself, trust in your parenting instincts. You're going to have to rely on that because you can go in there with a plan and it can be kicked completely out the window because your child has a different reaction than you expect.
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, it's better to not go in with a plan. Just go in with, I'm going to be as straightforward as I think they can handle. And we're going to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? Back to this is how life is. It's just how life is. And it's sad that children have to deal with this, but it's also sad that their children had to deal with an alcoholic father. So, just be there for your kids as they go through whatever emotions they do or do not have. And knowing if they don't deal with them now, they will have to deal with them at some point. Maybe when they're 35, but they will have to deal with them at some point.
Being an adult child of an alcoholic, I can tell you it gets better, but it never ends.
Yeah.
You don't have that ache in the chest, that hole in the chest anymore. You get closure, and you're a whole being again. You're a person, you're a whole person. And like you say, around 35, therapy, but they will be okay. They have a caring parent. So,
yeah. You've given them the thing they need.
Yeah.
So
that's what they need in this.
And you're sitting here trying to figure out the best way to work through it. And there is no best way. There's just the way you figure out. And as long as you do it with care and thoughtfulness, then you're going to be as fine as you can be. There's no great way through this. There's just not. It's not possible. So it's the least crappy way you can manage. And how do you work your way through a bog of crap? Very carefully. You step carefully. That's what you do. So, good luck. Okay.
Anyone else feel like their kids' extracurriculars are harder on us than them?
Okay, you're the king of their schedule. Why did you get them so many extracurriculars? I mean, unless you've got like 4 kids, and then yes, it is harder on you than them because there's 4 of them and 2 of you and sheer numbers. But assuming, it's a relatively rude, why are you overloading their schedules? Maybe you would both appreciate not putting so much extracurriculars. You don't have to do everything. I know we all want well-rounded children who have been given opportunities to do a wide variety of things, but overloading everybody doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
And you're finding that out, if the whole family is miserable because you've got soccer practice on Tuesdays, baseball practice on Wednesdays, piano on Thursdays. Sarah has dance recitals on,
and don't forget
Fridays,
play dates.
Then you've got date night on Saturdays, and Sundays you've got church and socials in the evenings. The only thing you don't have any extracurriculars on is Mondays. Well, except those are PTA meeting days, and so drop some stuff is my suggestion. If you're feeling overwhelmed by this amount of stuff on the schedule, take stuff off the schedule. Your kids are not going to be harmed by not having so many activities. It's okay to have one. You don't need 3 extracurriculars. You can have one at a time. When that season's over, they get another one. I get it. You want to make sure they have opportunities.
Yeah.
Or, maybe one time they get a, heavily involved thing. Next time they have one that's at the local library and they get to walk. You can choose what extracurriculars they have that take, more or less time. So my suggestion is be more mindful of the schedule you create for your children.
Or you may have one of those kids who always they're begging, okay, what can I do? Take me to do this, take me to do that.
Say no.
Go be bored in your room.
Go play with the stick. I'm bored. Sounds like a personal problem. I've got stuff that needs cleaning. Well, I'm not that bored. Well, then don't talk to me.
You said I'm bored of my mom. You had to go clean the tub.
Yeah. And it's a handful of things my kids wouldn't tell me. That's not fair. Yeah. And you said life is fair. That's like a 20-minute lecture. Don't tell me life. They wouldn't even let anybody say life is nothing. Something's not fair around me. Don't say that. We don't want to hear the 20-minute lecture. All right. What's next? Oh, our last one.
Yeah. Should children have an afternoon snack? Because this little guy, if he has an afternoon snack, he won't eat his dinner.
Uh-huh.
But he's married to a woman who immigrated from a country where traditionally that was very important for children to have a 4 p.m. snack.
Well, here's the thing. Growing boys letting us snacks, it's not be hungry for dinner. I don't buy. I raised boys. You can feed them a dinner, and then half an hour later, they're going to want another one. So I'm not necessarily buying the what are you feeding him for dinner that he doesn't want and using the fact that he's not hungry as the excuse.
Uh,
Because it is true. Like the whole point of having a snack for dinner, snack is to take an edge off until dinner. You give them just enough so you get, especially young growing boys, right? They're like animals. Here, have a Snickers so that you can get last till dinner so you guys won't freaking eat somebody's finger off. It just become cranky when they're hungry, right?
oh man.
Yep. So
Yeah, and they play video games. That went on into their teens.
yeah, so you hand them a little bit of food to tide them over for the 2 hours until dinner. The thing is, dinner has to be like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So if you're giving them a snack at 4 and then trying to eat at 5, well, then yes, you've taken a little edge off and you've taken off the motivation for them to want to eat, especially if it's something they don't particularly want. If you feed them pizza, they're going to eat, right? It doesn't matter what snack you gave them an hour ago.
True. They're going to eat pizza.
They're going to eat the pizza. So it's not that they're not hungry. It's they lack the hunger ping motivation to eat dinner that they don't necessarily want. So the solution is have the snack a little earlier, eat dinner a little later, a little less of a snack. There's lots of room for solutions in this equation. You just have to find the right one. Yeah. Snacks are perfectly fine, especially with growing boys. They need it, really. It's just you have to timing and amount. That's it. Okay. All right. And that's it for our look at love for tonight. Plenty to reflect on. Have a good night. And please remember to love everybody.
Good night.